بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا، إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا، وانفعنا بما علمتنا، وزدنا علما. I start with the name of Allah. I praise Him and thank Him. I ask Allah to raise the rank of Prophet Muhammad and to protect his Muslim nation from whatever he feared for his nation. We are still going on our history from the beginning. We talked about Prophets Adam, Sheaf, Idris, Nuh, Hud, and lastly Salih. Today we want to talk about another great prophet of Allah, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. So the author said, chapter 9, Prophet Ibrahim, Abraham, blessings and peace be upon him. Ibrahim is one of God's prophets. It is said that he is the son of Azar, also called Tarikh, the son of Nahur, the son of Sarugh, the son of Arghu, the son of Falah, the son of Ghabir, the son of Shalikh, the son of Qaynan, the son of Arfakhashid, the son of Sam, the son of Noah. Prophet Abraham was born in Iraq under the rulership of Nimrod or Nimrud, who ruled a wide area. At the time, the astrologers informed Nimrod that a child would be born, and at the hands of this one, the destruction of Nimrod's reign would occur. They said that the residence of this child would be in Babylon, next to Kufa. At that, Nimrod ordered the slaughtering of any male newborn child of that area. The author said, the birth of Prophet Abraham. A man named Azar lived in Babylon. His wife conceived, and Azar was worried. Hence he took his wife to Ur, a village outside of Babel between Kufa and Basra, all in present-day Iraq. She stayed in a place that was excavated underground. Azar used to supply her with food, drink, and the rest of her needs. After a long period of time passed without anything happening to the reign of Nimrod, he felt relaxed. Azar addressed the king regarding the subject, and Nimrod permitted them to return. Abraham grew up rapidly. His father was a man who carved idols and worshipped them. The author said Prophet Abraham calls his father to Islam. Prophet Abraham, or Ibrahim, forbade his father from doing this false worship as indicated in Surah Maryam, verse 42. We are told that Abraham said, "O my father, why do you worship that which does not hear, see, or benefit you with anything?" Azar was angry. He said, "O Abraham, if you do not worship my gods, I will stone you," as was stated in Surah Maryam, verse 46. Prophet Abraham told his father that he would ask God to guide him to Islam. Despite the threat, his evil father did not kill him. Abraham used many wise techniques to prove to his father and the rest of the idol worshippers that they were wrong in worshipping idols instead of their creator. The people at that time worshipped the sun, the moon, and the stars. They sculpted idols representing those objects in the sky. Abraham wanted them to think about how these objects move and that they must have a creator who has power over them, making them move. Abraham never worshipped the sun, moon, or the stars. We know from verses 76 to 79 of Surah Al-An'am that one night Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, saw a star in the sky and told the people with denial, "This is my Lord." Then he waited. He wanted them to observe that the star went away. After the star went away, Abraham stated, "I do not worship that which goes away." Abraham did the same with the moon and the sun. Means when the moon showed up, he said the same statement, "This is my Lord." And when the sun came, the same thing. He said, "Is this what you want me to worship? This is with this which is bigger?" He stressed to the people that all these things are creations that change, and one must worship the creator of those objects, who never changes. An important note that nowadays you find some people who misunderstand these verses and commit a serious mistake. They believe that Prophet Abraham worshipped the star, then the moon, then the sun. They say that finally Abraham worshipped God. This is totally incorrect. It is not possible that any prophet would do such a thing. These misguided people think that the strong denials of Prophet Abraham were instead confirmations that he worshipped the star, moon, and sun. In the Quran, we know there are no exclamation points or question marks. However, as already known, Abraham's statement or statements, "Hada Rabbi," this is my Lord, were exclamatory questions posed by Abraham to emphasize an extreme rejection in accordance with the Arabic language of the Quran. So, an example to make this understandable: say someone came to you and said, "Mahmoud is very gentle and has good manners." Then when you interact with this Mahmoud, you find that he is ill-mannered and vulgar. So you pose the question, Mahmoud is well-mannered? Clearly, when you say Mahmoud is well-mannered, you mean that this person is the opposite. You're not confirming that he is well-mannered. You're saying that he is not well-mannered. So when Prophet Ibrahim, we are told in Al-Quran, said the statement, "Hada Rabbi," for the star, the moon, and the sun, he is denying that any of these three objects would be his Lord, his God. He's saying that this is the thing that you want me to worship. This does not deserve to be worshipped. In fact, it's not God. So it is a question that denies what is being said. How could people take those verses to mean that Abraham first worshipped those things in the sky? They say that he was going through a stage of change, of finding the truth, that he was misguided, and then he found the right God to worship after he worshipped many things. This is unacceptable. Allah told us in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 51, in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ رُشْدَهُ مِنْ قَبْلِ وَكُنَّا بِهِ عَالِمِينَ, that Allah has guided Abraham since he was a child. So he was guided from the beginning. So it clearly states, this ayah clearly states that Ibrahim alayhi salam was already a believer prior to the incident of this star, moon, and the sun. The great scholar of Tafsir Ibn al-Jawzi cited this in his book of Tafsir called Zadul Masir. The author said Prophet Abraham smashes the idols. The people of Abraham used to observe a feast during which they all went out of the town together to celebrate. On that day, Prophet Abraham told them, means when they invited him to come and join them, he said, Inni saqim. And this is mentioned in verse 89 of Surah Al-Saffat in Al-Quran. Inni saqim. And it means I will be sick. The sickness that leads to death. However, people understood that he was sick at the present, at the moment that he said that statement, so that he could not go out and celebrate with them. Hence, he did not go with them to their feast. When they left, Prophet Abraham swore by God that he would smash or break their idols, as mentioned in Al-Quran in verse 57 of Surah Al-Anbiya. Some of the people were the last to leave, heard Abraham. So people were leaving, but the ones at the end heard Abraham saying that statement. Then, after they left, Abraham went to the idols. They were erected in a grand hall, lined up with food placed between their hands. So Prophet Abraham, mocking the idols, asked them, Will you not eat? When they did not reply, he said, What is the matter with you? You do not speak? Using an axe, Abraham alayhi salam started breaking them. He destroyed them, turning them to rubble, except for the large one. Abraham left it intact for the people to see when they returned. He wanted to show them that the biggest idol that they regarded the highest was truly powerless. When Abraham went in, he smashed all these idols. The big idol was there, did nothing to protect its companions. So Abraham wanted the other people, those idol worshippers, to see that. So when these people returned and saw that what happened to their idols, they were extremely distressed, deeming it as a major incident. They said, Who did that to our gods? Whoever did that to them is unjust. So those who were among the last batch to leave, having heard Prophet Abraham utter those words, said, We heard a young man called Abraham speaking ill of them. We have not heard such words from another person. We think this is the person who did it to the idols. The news of this incident reached Nimrod and his close associates. They said, Bring Abraham in front of the people to witness what we are going to do to him. When they brought Ibrahim alayhi salam, Abraham, with the people gathered at the king's place, they asked him, Did you do this to our gods? Abraham said, If these idols could utter, then it is the largest idol of them who did that. So ask them if they can speak. If they can speak, they will answer. Ask them. Abraham did not say that the big idol did it. He was proving to the people that the big idol was powerless. So if these idols could speak, could answer your question, then the big idol is the one who did it. The people recognized that the idols did not have the ability to speak as Prophet Abraham was implying. They put their heads down because they knew that Prophet Abraham discredited them. Then he told them, "Do you worship other than God? Do you worship that which does not benefit or harm you? Woe to you! Come back to your senses." At that point, Abraham's people debated with him about God. Nimrod asked Prophet Abraham, "That Lord of yours, what is he?" And of course, Nimrod posed that question using this term "what" because he was used to likening the Creator to creatures and worshipping idols unrightfully. Abraham stressed that God is not similar to his creation. He talked to Nimrod about the power of God and about the signs that signify that God has no partners. Abraham said, "God is my Lord, is the one who gives life and death." Nimrod, out of stubbornness, said, "I give life and death. I can take two men who deserve to be killed. I will kill one, and I will set the other free. By that, I will have given life to one and death to the other." Of course, Prophet Abraham, with his sharp intellect and brilliance, immediately realized that Nimrod was stubborn. Means he did not answer the question of Prophet Abraham. Giving life means creating life in something which is not alive. Death means removing the life of someone, creating death in this person who is alive. But Nimrod did not answer the question, because when he spares someone, sets him free, he's already alive, so he did not give him life. So Nimrod's answers were not the answers to the questions of Prophet Abraham. So Abraham realized that when you are debating with someone who is ignorant, who is not even does not know the basis of logic, you have to find other ways of showing him the truth. So Abraham changed his strategy and told Nimrod, "God brings the sun from the east. If what you say is true, if you claim yourself to be God and so on, bring it from the west." That rebuttal, this statement startled and irritated Nimrod. So, what did he do? Because now he could not answer back, he proceeded to plot Abraham's demise. But before revealing Nimrod's next move, we would like to tell you something. Once Nimrod told Abraham, "Ask your Lord to revive the dead, or else I will kill you." So among the debates and things that were happening between Prophet Ibrahim and this Nimrod and his people is the following, that he told him, "Look," Nimrod said to Abraham, "Ask your Lord to revive the dead, or else I will kill you." So Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam made dua, asked Allah, "O Allah, show your power to revive the dead." The author said, the miracle of the birds. God revealed to Abraham to take 4 birds, a red rooster, a white pigeon, a green peacock, and a black crow. So again, a red rooster, a white pigeon, a green peacock, and a black crow. This story or this incident is mentioned in Al-Quran, not in the details that we're going to say. The details come from other sources. But the story that Allah ordered Abraham, فَصُرْهُنَّ إِلَيْكَ خُذْ أَرْبَعَةً مِنَ الطَّيْرِ, it's mentioned in Al-Quran. So Abraham slaughtered those 4 birds, cutting off their heads. So their heads were separated from their bodies. And Abraham kept those heads with him. Then Abraham mashed together the headless bodies of those 4 birds, thoroughly mixing their parts together. Then Abraham divided that mixture into 7 parts and placed one part on each of 7 mountains. Abraham stood so that he could see the whole mountain range and the 7 places where the mixtures were. Then he held the heads of those birds in his hand and said, "Come by the will of God." So he addressed, "Come by the will of God." The parts of those birds came flying together from the 7 places, and the bodies of the birds were reconstructed. The birds stood before Abraham without heads. Seeing this amazing miracle strengthened the faith that Abraham always had. Then Abraham offered the head to the appropriate bird and the head attached to the body. When Abraham offered the inappropriate head, the wrong head, the bird did not accept it. When these birds were whole again, they flew away. Out of his extreme stubbornness, Nimrod still did not believe in Abraham's message, despite that amazing scene. He imprisoned Prophet Abraham for 7 years. Then, at one time, he starved 2 lions to feed Abraham to them. However, when Nimrod sent the starving lions to kill and eat Abraham, the lions licked Abraham instead and prostrated to him. Allahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. The author said Nimrod tries to burn Prophet Abraham. Then Nimrod and his companions unanimously agreed to burn Prophet Abraham in support of their false gods. They collected wood, put it in a big ditch, and they started a great fire. That fire was so great that they needed to use a catapult to throw Abraham into it. However, the people of that time did not know the catapult. So how did they come about with this machine? The cursed Satan, Iblis, came to those people in the form of a man and taught them how to make one. And it is said that the man who built it was called Hayzin. Later, Allah, God, made the ground swallow Hayzin. Now the fire was so hot that if a bird were to fly above that fire, it would be burnt. The people tied the hands and feet of Prophet Abraham before sending him off into the catapult. Prophet Abraham addressed Allah, means while being thrown, "O Allah, there is no God but you. Praise to you. You are free, means clear of all imperfections. To you are the thanks, means they are due. You are the owner of everything. You have no partners." When they threw Abraham into the fire, Allah made the fire cool and peaceful on Abraham. Prophet Abraham said, "God's support is enough for me. God is the best to rely on." He stayed in that fire for the time that God had willed for him to stay without being harmed. He came out of it safe, without his body or clothes being burnt. The ropes that tied him, though, did get burned, without that hurting him. Before Abraham left that fire, the following event occurred. Days went by and Nimrod was sure that Abraham was dead. Despite his assumption, Nimrod wanted to see for himself. When he first looked, he thought that he saw Prophet Abraham there in the fire, alive and unburnt, with a man next to him resembling him. Nimrod said to his servant, "It is as if I see Abraham alive. I think I'm not seeing well. Build me a tower so I can be high and see clearly." Of course, they dutifully, means they obeyed Nimrod and constructed this tower. He, Nimrod, ascended the tower, and he still saw Abraham with a man next to him, identical to him. A man was sitting with Abraham, identical to Abraham, looked the same as Abraham. Nimrod yelled to Abraham, "Oh Abraham, can you get out of that fire?" Abraham said, "Yes." Then Nimrod asked, Are you not afraid of being burnt if you stay there?" Abraham said, "No." Then Abraham emerged out of the fire. Abraham was asked, "Who was the one with you?" And he said, "That was the angel of shade, Malakul Dhil, the angel of shade." He said, "God sent him to give me good company." Remember that Abraham was there within the fire for days. So he said that Allah sent the angel of shade to keep him company, not to be alone inside. Since that incident, Nimrod refrained from hurting Abraham any further. However, he stubbornly continued to reject the message of Prophet Abraham alayhi salatu wassalam. God gave a punishment to Nimrod in this life, and of course in the next. In the next there is hellfire forever. In this life, Nimrod was ordered to accept Islam 3 times, yet he refused. At one point in time, Nimrod gathered his army. God sent many insects that attacked this army. The insects ate the flesh of the army and left them as dead skeletons. Then God sent an insect to Nimrod himself that went into his nostril. Nimrod felt great pain because of that. And the only thing that he felt relieved the pain was for his head to be hit. Hence he asked people to strike his head with hammers and other objects, so he would not feel good unless he was hit on his head with things. And it is narrated that he was in that condition, means in pain and being hit to relieve his pain. It was narrated that he was in that condition for a period of 400 years until he died. Wallahu subhanahu wa ta'ala a'lam. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.